this scope that we've done like this, right now, there's close to 90 people in the room, and it's growing every second. We're still getting more and more people coming in. This is the online education day for the conference for the Society for Scientific Exploration and the Parapsychological Association. The conference is beginning next Friday. It's going to be running for 9 days. It's going to be a really interesting event that's going to involve not only speakers talking on different topics, but also a lot of opportunity for you to interact with other people who are at the conference, interact with parapsychologists, and just have general discussions about topics that interest you related to what we're going to talk about today. Today is designed for us to introduce you to the terminology and to the basic ideas that you might encounter during the conference. We have a great crew with us today. I want to thank everyone who's going to be joining us. We have Annalisa Ventola. We have Christine Simmons-Moore, who's going to be with us a little bit later on, talking about ESP and psychology. We have Mark Bacuzzi, who's going to be here discussing research in mediumship. I'll be talking about healing, PK, and subtle energy after we have a brief break. Simeon Hine is going to be here talking about encounters and abductions. Lloyd Auerbach, great presenter and great speaker, is going to be here around 5 p.m. Eastern Time talking about paranormal investigations. And then finally, we close up with Paul Smith discussing remote viewing. It's a great lineup of speakers. You guys are really lucky to see everyone here today. I want to thank everyone who helped this to happen, including Lauren Brown, who is our arrangements chair, and his team of technologists who are behind the scenes here. So without going into things any more detail, I want to mention there's a chat window. You can always go to the chat window and ask questions. We'll be answering the questions after the event, after the presentation finishes. But you can always go to the chat and chat with other people who are here. If you have any questions, you can put them in there and we'll be addressing them later. Thanks everyone for your attention, and let's go on with the presentation.
Hi, my name is Annalisa Ventola, and I'm the Executive Director of the Parapsychological Association. Today, I'm going to give you an introduction to parapsychology. Over the next 30 minutes, I hope to give you a broad overview of the field, as well as introducing you to some key concepts that you are likely to encounter, especially if you are attending the SSE-PA Connections Convention later this month. What is parapsychology? It is the scientific and scholarly study of unexplained aspects of human experience, and that falls along three broad categories. The first of these is extrasensory perception, which includes clairvoyance, telepathy, and precognition. Clairvoyance meaning clear seeing, clearly seeing the present. Telepathy suggests some kind of mind-to-mind interaction, and precognition, that is somehow knowing the future. Mind-matter interactions is our second category, and that includes psychokinesis, mental healing, and the power of intent. And finally, phenomena suggestive of survival of bodily death, which is a pretty broad category that includes reincarnation, out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, hauntings, and apparitional experiences. A term that you're going to encounter a lot if you get to any depth in this field is the term psi. Psi is literally the 23rd letter of the Greek alphabet. And it was chosen as a neutral substitute for ESP-PK, or sometimes we even use it to substitute for the idea of survival. It can be used as an adjective or a noun, so we can talk about trying to find psi in an experiment, or we can talk about, for instance, how an experiment gave us a good psi result. And psi neither implies that anomalous phenomenon are paranormal, nor does it connote anything about their underlying mechanisms. And that's what's really important about the term. It can be useful to describe the anomalous outcome of a laboratory experiment without the researcher being required to choose between culturally connotated words like clairvoyance, telepathy, or psychokinesis. You might also encounter the term psi hitting, and that means when a person scores a hit more frequently than you would expect by chance, usually in a laboratory experiment. And then there's psi missing, which is really interesting. And that is when a participant might miss a target more frequently than would be expected by chance. Both of those are anomalous results, whether you're hitting the target more than you'd expect or missing it more than you expect. There's usually something interesting going on there. Something is called psi-conducive if it is favorable to or facilitative of the occurrence of psi. So some people might say that like mild sensory deprivation, for instance, is psi-conducive. And sometimes you'll hear people talking about chance guessing. They might say, oh, my experiment failed because all we got was chance guessing. That's a null result. So there are several major parapsychological research approaches. Probably the most popular and well-known would be the experimental research, which is laboratory studies of psi. But there's multiple ways to approach parapsychology because parapsychology itself isn't really a field so much as it is a interdisciplinary field of people who are approaching the topic from multiple places. And so it's a collection of research topics that people bring their own expertise to. So scholarly research also falls into the parapsychology. So we could have discussion of philosophical issues, historical surveys. We see contributions from the humanities, analytical research, which might mean just doing statistical analyses of large databases that other people have done experiments with. Case studies, which could be in-depth studies of personal psi experiences, field investigations, or comparisons of cross-cultural beliefs and practices that are related to psi. And theoretical research, and that would be mathematical, descriptive, and or phenomenological models of psi.